Hello, hello. I've got a couple of projects in the works, and I thought today would be fun to just kind of do an old fashioned style YouTube video. Kind of like a moist critical style video where you sit and you talk about something, and I get your opinions on what you think. Because there has been a lot going on with this website in particular, and I should say content creation in general, in the last couple of years. A lot of high profile creators have either left the platforms, moved on to greener pastures, like been offered millions of dollars to stream exclusively with some website, and they just kind of leave the other ones. And in some cases, I should say, instead of just fully quitting, they pull drastically back and focus on other things. And I wanted to go over some of these things today because I think it's really interesting, and I do have a perspective on it as a smaller creator. I know I have over 100,000 subs, but typically it's like I'm a 5 to 20,000 view channel. I'm not huge. But I have dealt with a lot of this stuff, and I thought it was interesting seeing that matpat now from the Game Theorists is backing off from YouTube, is giving his channels out to people who helped him, like co-writers. He's passing them down to the other people who worked with him on these channels and focusing on his family. And this is something that I think we're going to see a lot more of, and there's several reasons for it. Now, here's the thing. I know that tackling this topic, I'm like moving around here because I was not in the center of the screen. I'm getting upset. I know that tackling this topic, there's going to be a lot of vitriolic responses to it. Anytime this comes up, anytime anyone has any minor complaint about like their job, where they live, what they do, anything, the general response from other people who are upset with their own life, right, is to say, well, you have it better than me, and I would do this. And I always thought that was counterproductive and not very intelligent. I always thought that was just kind of like an emotional lash out thing. So when people do that, Cosmo is making weird noises. When people do that, I tend to just ignore them, laugh it off, and just kind of blow past it. It can be hurtful sometimes, but like it's just not worth letting people like that get to you, no matter what you do. You could be working at McDonald's 40 hours a week and trying to find a better job and say, man, I really don't like this. And people would say, well, you should have gone and done a better thing in college. And you should have done this. When I was your age, I owned 12 mansions. And it's one of those things I think is just not productive. Those people should be discarded until they have a more open mind, is genuinely my opinion. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people are leaving this platform and other platforms because of the grind, because of what they have to put into it. Especially if you look at an example like matpat, who can speak much better to his own examples and life in his own video, which I thought was very well done and emotional. But you look at a guy like that who's basically running, I believe, 4 or 5 channels and also doing live streams. That's a lot of work. I know for me, I run Degenerate J. This is my plug, so you guys should check these out if you haven't already. I run this channel. I do Degenerate Plays, where we play through games together, Let's Play style. And that's a channel that it doesn't really make money. You know why? Because people don't want to watch Let's Plays anymore. Except for like a few huge established creators, people want streams. I personally prefer Let's Plays because I prefer the editing style. I prefer being able to change things like the audio and things like that better than in streams, but a lot of people don't. That's just an old-fashioned opinion of mine. I run, JayRPG now, where we do content on RPGs and JRPGs. I help Jill with her channel, Magical Jill. I have King of Creepy that, probably about once a month or so I upload a horror video on just to have fun. And people say to me, why do you run all those things? And I saw people say that to matpat too, like, well, why did you do so many channels? Why'd you stretch yourself so thin? And it comes down to passion. It comes down to what YouTube, Twitch, all these things do. They all treat people like they're numbers. They can be viewers, they can be the content creators, they can be commenters, they can be someone leaving a like or dislike, or just someone without even an account who just logs onto the website for the first time ever. From the moment you are on the website as a creator or as a consumer, as a video viewer or interactor or whatever you want to call it, these systems are trying to pin you down into a tiny box. This is something I've dealt with a lot on my channels. It's why I started JayRPG, and even with that, I thought more people from this channel would see that and be interested, because I know that human beings are multifaceted creatures who have a lot of different interests. The problem is that YouTube will specifically target you and say, hey, we think this is what you'll care about, And even if it isn't, this is what we think. We're playing a numbers game. We're playing it safe. This is our algorithmic guess. And that's what you are now. So if you watch 100 Spider-Man videos, even if you start to hate Spider-Man in the future, you will be recommended Spider-Man videos pretty much forever. Unless for years you decide not to click on them and you just start watching like Star Wars all the time or something. Or Victoria's Secret fashion shows, like the runway walks. I mean, who's to blame you here? They will pin you into that box as a viewer. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that. You don't get subscription notifications from every channel you're subscribed to. You used to. You know why you don't? Because they didn't want to take a chance on things like variety. Things like what I do here, they don't take a chance on that. Now, even channels that are massively successful, like those theorist channels with game theory, film theory, food theory, all of them, you still are beholden to an algorithm. That's why people have these separate channels where they cover different topics. That's why channels like Degenerate Jay here, that I know some people every time I say this will say, well, I wish my channel was doing as well as yours and you're ungrateful and stuff. They don't understand that like it's very mentally taxing when you're working an 80-hour work week or more to make less than minimum wage. You know, like small content creators, like people under 500,000 subs, have very little monetary or time incentive to do this. The reason to do it is because you enjoy it, because you like the people who are watching, because you like what you're doing. You know, if you're a channel that covers media like me, maybe you really enjoy that media. But at the end of the day, channels that are smaller than, I would say, at least 500,000 subs, probably closer now to 1 million, because of the sub growth inflation and the economy and what money is worth now. If you are below that, you're not making much. You could be if you niche in on one specific topic only. But what that does is it often kills passion. It often makes people lose interest in YouTube. It makes people lose interest in what they're doing. And I know a lot of people will say like, well, you know, like if there's some guy who can just sit and play Fortnite for 12 hours a day and make a living, that's great. You try sitting and doing anything for 12 hours a day, you're going to get sick of it. Whether you're in a factory, whether you're teaching kids at a college, whether you're playing Fortnite, anything. Human beings strive for, and I genuinely believe in our lives, in our psyche, need some type of variety. We need the ability to express ourselves and branch out. Now, that doesn't always manifest in creating things. For some people, it's playing different types of video games. For some people, it's, you know, creating art, like drawing things or painting. For some people, it's making movies. For some people, it's going out on walks in different places and going on hikes. People find these things in different places. But the way that the YouTube algorithm works really wears people down. Here's a great example from me. Cosmo is trying to attack the window now for some reason. Kazi, come here. Come here, baby boy. Come here, little guy, my son. Come here. He's ignoring me. Like real kids, when you look at the way things work, for a channel like mine, which this is, again, not like a woe is me, everybody feel bad for me, please cry on my behalf. You look at channels like mine, though, and the more you branch out, the worse you do. It's true. You go back and look at the stretch of probably 4 or 5 months where I mainly did Arkham because I was like really in a mood for that, and the channel did amazing. As soon as I started, this little guy is insane. As soon as I started branching out to other stuff, I did worse. Now, the business acumen, the business side of the audience is going to say, well, then you're an idiot for doing that. You should never compromise money. You should always find those trends, stick to them, and do what you know works. And that is absolutely the business side of it. Unfortunately, a lot of people who do this content creation stuff, the reason that they do it is because their brains don't really fit into that business world as well. They're very much more focused on trying to create something or express themselves in some way and enjoy things. And now that's not to say that there's anything wrong with like these normal jobs. I've worked them for years. But like when you try and explain that to people, Cosmo, be quiet over there. They always go and they say, well, if I were you, I'd do this. Or, well, if I ran this, I would just go all in on this thing. They don't think about the other side of it. They don't think about the creative cancer almost that comes down on you at a certain point where you just give up. They don't think about the fact that you run out of topics and bleed them dry on a given topic, and then you basically just keep on going with it and you keep on pushing it until your content is soulless. I mean, how many channels have done that? You know, like, you can look at channels right now where they used to be really interesting. They found one thing that worked. Hey, buddy, you be quiet over there. They found one thing that worked, and this little guy knows exactly what I'm talking about, don't you, buddy? And what they did was they went all in on it. And then 3 years later, they come out with a video saying, I'm tired of this. I quit. I can't keep doing this. It doesn't matter to me anymore. Even if I'm making a ton of money, I just don't care. Because people get burned out. They get burned out from the work weeks. They get burned out from the lack of variety. They get burned out from being put in a box. They get burned out from mean comments. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, just ignore them. When you get hundreds, if not thousands of people a month telling you, you're stupid, you should die, I hate you, here's why you're dumb, here's why you're ugly, here's why you're fat, here's why your content sucks, if I were you, I'd edit better, if I were you, I'd do this better, I wish you didn't exist, you should have been born. You get this stuff over and over again, and if you see that, it does weigh down on you. It's honestly shocking to me that more people don't leave to spend more time with their family, that more people don't abandon all of this, because all of this has no security. It has no job security at all. Your channel can be banned tomorrow. Your entire brand can be destroyed tomorrow. You can have things just get shadow banned just because. You can't get in contact with Google or YouTube about it because screw you. Genuinely. And there's not a better option for doing this kind of thing. Like, you go to other websites, because like I'm uploading this to YouTube. All of my videos automatically also upload to Rumble, although the interface between that with Google is not very good, so sometimes it's out of order, which is annoying. But like Rumble, for example, it's a platform that a lot of people really like, and I think has a lot of good content on it too, but it skews extremely political. You know, like, I'm in the minority of uploading non-political content over there. Like, yeah, I'll get political once in a while about something, but not very often. And that's very much in the minority. And then you go to all these other websites, and it's like the payouts for creators are so low. And at the end of the day, is it all about money? No, absolutely not. But if you are making less flipping, or if you're making more flipping burgers than you are doing an 80-hour-a-week job making stuff, that's a bad system. That's kind of the box I found myself in. And a lot of people tell me, like, well, then you should just quit, give up. I've never been someone to give up. I don't really like that. I don't think even that's what matpat's doing, though. What matpat and creators like that are doing is saying, I've created a lot, now I need to focus on my family. Not, things aren't going well, I quit. It's, I've done a lot, and I've given a lot out for free, to people to enjoy and consume. That you're not paying for. That's just, here you go. And I can't do that forever. I need to be able to spend time with my kids, my wife, stuff like that. And that's even something we've seen from creators like PewDiePie. He still uploads, but he's backed significantly off from YouTube because it's honestly just draining. And it's something he doesn't need anymore because he's found, I don't want to, like, it's very tacky to bring up people's wealth, but he's found success. I think that's the nice way to say it, where he is fine. People like me, I've started looking at things that I'm doing, and I've looked at things with my disabilities. Like, you can't see them from looking at me. It's not a visible disability, but I have really bad fibromyalgia. I get really bad pains. I'll be walking in the store, and it will generally feel like somebody came up, stabbed me in the back, and I almost fall down. I get stuff like that because my nerves are out of control. I have erythromyalgia, where it affects my blood flow and causes really bad pain in my hands and feet on top of the other conditions. I have a chronic hip degenerative problem. So like, I have disability issues that a lot of people would quit doing this and go on disability for. But if you bring that up to people, they say, I can't see that, it doesn't matter. Or they'll say, well, then you should do this. And they don't understand that there's a lot of people who have mental and physical problems that this kind of thing is very good for when it works. The problem is that you get really sucked into it. You get really, really consumed by it very easily. I have an addictive personality. As soon as I decided to start not seeking therapy, though I probably could use it, as soon as I decided to start being more healthy with YouTube, as soon as I just decided that, yes, I'm going to do different things, but I'm still going to upload, I'm still going to try and make this work, this is my dream, I've been, recording videos and doing stuff since I was like 3 years old with my mom's camera, all right, this is something I always wanted to do, was fun stuff like this. As soon as I decided I'm going to be healthier with this, I'm going to go from 80 to 100 hour work weeks down to like 50 to 60. You're still more than a full-time job, a lot of full-time jobs, but healthier. My income crashed. I went down to making like it's not against terms of service to say, but like I don't like getting into money specifically. I will say that my income got cut by a third because of being healthier, because of focusing more on my marriage, focusing more on things I wanted to enjoy. I wasn't taking place in hobbies. I wasn't spending time with friends. I'd have friends over and I'd work the whole time while they were here. That's not healthy. It's not healthy to wake up at 3 a.m. every night and say, I got to get this done. Lots of YouTubers are doing that though. Lots of Twitch streamers. They're streaming 8 to 12 hours a day, sometimes more, to make a living. And yeah, I know to a lot of people that seems easy, and that's fine. You can have that opinion, absolutely. Like to me, I'm sure there's normal jobs that I would look at and think that looks really, really easy. But I don't see the intricacies of what's going on in your life while you're doing it. Like I'm not actually seeing what you're mentally going through, or I'm not seeing what kind of things behind the scenes you're dealing with. I just had a discussion about this with my sister, with teaching, where she said, a lot of people would really love to do teaching and get 3 months of the year off, but she didn't know that you don't get paid during that time. You have to take out a different payment plan and split up your yearly income and to get paid during the summer. A lot of teachers I knew, especially at smaller schools where they got worse benefits and didn't get as good a pay, they were working as like retail workers during the summer to be able to afford to live. So they'd work full time as a teacher and then they'd go to do retail work. And during that full time, they were not working 40-hour weeks. They were contracted for that, but what they were actually doing was more like 60-hour weeks plus, because they had to take work home to get it done. It was impossible to finish everything they had to do. But people don't see the intricacy. I think a lot of people, there's a phrase, if you can't do, you teach, because they think it looks easy. They think there's nothing to it. I remember when I was teaching, just for being too friendly to a student, and this is not really like it wasn't really a problem, but it was something very uncomfortable for me. I remember that I was just very nice to a student who was a female student of mine, and she kind of got a crush on me, I guess, and one of my teachers got mad at me about it, but I was just like, I'm just being nice to everybody. Like I'm just trying to interact with my students and be nice. And then my teacher, my like cooperating teacher, was very mad at me about that. But that's something that you wouldn't see normally, right? You wouldn't see that weird drama of like, I'm trying to be a professional. I'm trying to treat students kindly. I'm trying to be nice to them. I'm trying to help them grow and learn. Oh, there's this weird situation I want no part of at all. And now people are mad at me about it. Like stuff like that. My mom, who's winding down at the end of her teaching career, and that people have told her whole life, oh, wow, that must be a pretty easy job. They don't know about the woman who got her head basically, how can I say this in YouTube monetization terms? They don't know about the woman who got her head severely injured recently by a kid who kicked her in the head. They don't know about that kind of stuff because in Minnesota, at least, where I live, there's very little good repercussions for students for acting out, for violence, for anything. It's very hard to move people into special schools. It's very hard to get people the help they need in mainstream schools. It's very hard to be safe as a teacher. And that's just an example. Now, I know that's not YouTube, but it's just examples of things that happen behind the scenes at a career that people don't recognize or realize or notice because they're on the outside of it. YouTube and content creation have a lot of stuff like that, where behind the scenes, other creators will say really mean stuff about you and then pretend that they didn't out in the open. Where you'll have people trying to start drama with you by reacting to your content and trying to get a rise out of you and just insulting you the whole time. I've had that so many times where like other creators whose whole brand is negativity will try and insult me and come at me and my friends and try and pick a fight with me so that I will respond to it publicly and get them more attention and then have like a back and forth. I've even seen behind the scenes DMs from YouTubers beefing who were making it up, who were saying like, yeah, we're going to have a beef. Like, let's go back and forth here. Like it's like a UFC event where it's like, let's pit our audiences against each other and then we'll get crossover and it'll be drama and we'll end up on YouTube news shows and stuff. You don't see that weird, stupid stuff. You don't see the times that you have to, basically not spend time with your family because you have to do another project. All these jobs are like that. And so I think that's kind of what I wanted to get at today is that when people look at content creation, again, it's not a feel sorry for me. I am working well above and beyond full time. And I am not making minimum wage if you average it out. I have no health insurance that is provided to me by YouTube or Google. You don't get that. You're not a full-time employee. I have no anything like that, no benefits, nothing. You are on your own for that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of people do this, and they get into it thinking it's going to work out really well. I'm going to be the next PewDiePie. I'm going to do amazing. I'm going to put all this effort in. And they put all the effort in, and then they realize that sometimes you can put in all that effort and try as hard as you possibly can and do everything right, and it still doesn't work out. And that sucks. A lot of people leave for that reason. A lot of people leave because of the workload. Like what matpat was saying in his video is that his family is very important to him. That's very admirable. Too many people sacrifice their family for money, for work, for investing their time in things that ultimately don't matter. No matter what your belief system is, we all get a certain amount of time with our family here on Earth. What you believe after that, it's up to you. But that's true. And so to sacrifice a lot of that time with family and friends, and then to see the people, I worked with old people in senior living for a while, who would look back at their life and they had ruined their friendships. They didn't have relationships with their family anymore. They had worked their entire life away and they had nothing. They had nobody. I think a lot of people are really scared of ending up that way. I think a lot of people are really scared of ending up as the father who wasn't around, or worse, who was around and was locked in your office editing videos 24/7. They worry about being the person who started out enjoying video games and movies, and now you stream Fortnite 12 hours a day and you shut it off and you want to die. They don't like soul-draining, soul-sucking stuff, and it's very hard in this space to end up in a positive and healthy relationship with your work. It's extremely difficult. That does not minimize anybody else's jobs. There are jobs that are far more dangerous, far more taxing than this. A guy I went to high school with, he, will do 20-hour shifts as a police officer because they are understaffed in Minnesota. And regardless of how you feel about police, this guy's a nice guy. He does his best. He tries to treat everyone with kindness. He's one of the good ones, if you want to say it that way. And the dude is overworked and tired all the time and he's just exhausted. I believe it's like 16 to 20 hours that he'll have shifts sometimes. And then you think, well, that guy's interacting with people and that guy is in dangerous positions when he's sleep deprived. That's not okay. Like, obviously that's an example of a job that's far more dangerous than this, right? But everything has its problems. Everything and everyone, I think, has their breaking point where they say, you know what? Enough's enough. I need a break. I need to stop. I need to back off. And especially for people like me, it's extremely disheartening when you hit that point and you start to try and be more healthy with it and you do even worse. A lot of people are burned out, tired, they don't have the drive anymore, and the workaholic lifestyle and the workaholic box that these companies put you into as a content machine and not creator is going to drive more and more people away from these platforms. If you can't succeed with any kind of variety in your life as a creator, people are going to eventually quit. Whether you like that or not, whether I like that or not, whether Google or Twitch or any of these things like that or not, that is the case. Human beings strive for and need a three-dimensional personality and a life. They need a life. And this space really encourages you to not have that. Or to put in the absolute bare minimum possible at all times to maintain it. There's no real middle ground, and there's no success really found in that middle ground. And it's extremely unfortunate. It's something I hope changes with the platform, but honestly, at this point, it's gotten a lot worse, and I don't know if it will. I'm interested in your thoughts down below. I'm interested to hear what you have to think and say. Like I said before, this is not to diminish anybody's work. I think everybody doing a paying job, it's pretty important. I don't care what you're doing. A job is a job. I've always had that opinion. You could be flipping burgers. You could be being a stripper. You could be working at a movie theater. You could be a construction worker. You could be a CEO. Yeah, these things are going to be different, but they're all jobs. And people have to try and seek their happiness and contentment where they can find it. And other people telling you how to do that, it doesn't really do anything for you. I understand that completely. There's a lot of facets to this and a lot of reasons why people leave and have been leaving. And it's unfortunate. It sucks. Everything changes. All good things come to an end. But I don't know. I hope to not be in that position. I hope to keep working on this channel and my other channels and make them succeed. But even for me, I've given some thought, especially with matpat leaving, of is this right for my family? Is this right for me if I want to have kids? Is, having no job security worth it? Like, should I be taking some money every month and investing in an IRA, or should I instead be finding a 40-hour-a-week job where I'll make double the pay and work half as much? Those are questions people ask themselves. And unfortunately for YouTube and all these platforms, a lot of people are starting to come to the smart conclusion that it's not worth it to destroy your life over your work. That's just, people are figuring that out. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. If you want to help support this channel, there are lots of ways to do it. If you want to see more just chatting videos like this, I would be interested to hear. They don't usually do well. That's why I don't make them very often, because I, again, am in that algorithmic box. But it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. So let me know. Supporting this channel, there's channel memberships, there's Patreon, there's other channels down there in the description. We have a Discord where you can hang out with people and talk. I have a Fortnite creator code down there in the description. I'm not really editing this. I'm very tired. I'm sleep deprived. I have a lot going on today. So just going to end it here. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui. And hey, thank you for sticking it out. I appreciate you.